So the first article here is following up on the CrowdStrike event that occurred. CrowdStrike did release some additional root cause analysis and next steps that they were going to be focusing on. There was during the event, there was some overlapping CrowdStrike and Microsoft Azure activities going on. Microsoft had an event happen at the same time. It was a DDoS attack, it looked like, that there was some separate news about. So there was a little bit of confusion. Some articles almost blamed Microsoft for the CrowdStrike event, but that was not actually the case. So this article here we thought captured the details of what actually happened very well and seemed to have been written off of the Falcon blog post that they released, which I'll show you in a second here as well. But this goes through and talks about the event and the details of it. It's, again, one of the most accurate that we saw. So definitely recommend that if you want to do some follow-up reading. More importantly, if you go to CrowdStrike's site, they talk about the event as well and what happened. In this case, it was not a agent or what they refer to as the Falcon sensor update. It was the content that that agent uses. And some of the things that people have asked is, oh, hey, well, how could this have been prevented? Well, in this case, none of us could have done anything to stop that because there isn't as much control over that content coming out. You get a little bit of control over rolling out the CrowdStrike agent, but not the content. So a few things that they talk about in here. They explain the update that was pushed out, that it was a content change. They're putting additional validation into the content releases that they're doing. They're adding additional deployment layers. So just like all of you, ideally, you want to have more of a ring-style deployment where you deploy to a test group, early adopters, and then production. They're setting up more additional rings in the content release cycle as well to mitigate this type of potential event in the future. And they're talking about adding some additional capabilities to allow you to control things a little bit more for that rapid response content. So this is kind of one of those situations where we want technologies like EDR to be able to roll out content as quickly as possible to react to threats in the real world. But with that comes the danger of exactly what happened in this case. Now, CrowdStrike up until then had a really good track record, but this event showed us that there was definitely a risk to this type of change, and one that could impact a very large, worldwide type impact. So they're trying to do additional things to mitigate those types of risks as well. So a little bit of information there. If you have discussions or things still going on within your organization about that event, I think these are the two best sources of information we've seen so far that explain what happened, what CrowdStrike is doing additionally about that. So some good information there if you haven't already seen that. Next, there was Black Hat was just going on. And during the course of that, obviously, there's a number of different security researchers who are revealing some of their investigations. Well, one of the things that was discussed at Black Hat, and potentially a little bit earlier than that, was a public disclosure of a vulnerability in Microsoft's virtual. I'm sorry, let me get the term right here just to make sure I've got it accurate here. And of course, as soon as I'm looking for the term, I can't find it. VBS, virtualization-based security. So Windows has this type of sandbox that lets things run in a more secure environment. And this researcher found multiple ways to basically work around that to be able to push an update that actually reintroduces vulnerable components back into the system. So that was revealed about 6 months ago. The researcher revealed the information at Black Hat, and with that, we've got a proof of concept kind of disclosure here that lets threat actors know that there's some more information or there's something they can do here. So we're going to talk about this vulnerability in more depth. but this article goes into a bit more information about that event. So if you are seeing any news about that, that's a good article that kind of explains what this downgrade attack is, and also talks about which CVEs are involved in that.